Number 12, so it is laws should be passed that limit the sale of guns that are not intended for hunting or other legitimate sporting purposes. What are your thoughts on that? Especially with like all of these recent activities with like mass shootings and
Now,
things like that.
Okay.
a
So-
key word is limit, not ban,
So if you're not hunting or, using them for any sport, why do you need more than one gun, and why do you need guns that are going to be more, powerful? I mean, I don't know a whole lot about guns, but why do you need more than one if you're not going to be using it for hunting or some other sport that requires guns?
People say for protection. I completely agree.
But even, if you're using it for protection, then why do you need, 20? You should only need one per person. There are so many people, even that I know, that are, all about guns, and they just want as many guns as possible, and I'm like, I don't understand why. Even just to protect yourself, you don't need more than one gun per person.
I see what you're saying on that, but a lot of times people collect guns, and my grandpa collects guns, my dad's got a bunch of guns, and yeah, there's people out there that are gonna use the guns for the wrong reasons, but all they need is one gun for that. So we're gonna talk about putting a limit on guns. That's not really gonna solve a problem. Then you should just ban guns if that's the issue that everyone's talking about. Because enough can be done with one gun than 20 guns. So, and if you hunt, there's different types of guns you can hunt with. There's different types of things like that. They already have you can't get military grade weapons that easily unless you're in the military type stuff. And so, yeah.
I just feel like getting guns and understanding if it's for hunting is you could easily lie about I'm about to go hunting and get a gun.
Well, no
you're
one's
never
really hunting with an AR-15.
But you're still never gonna know what's gonna be used. That gun is gonna be used for anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So with that whole statement, it's just how do we know?
Right,
No.
and there's I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just curious, why do they collect guns? Just because, they like guns? They just,
Like
for
guns.
logs? They
Yeah.
just...
It's why do people have, 12 cars? There's a lot of traffic deaths out there, so why can't someone be limited to one car?
So it's just some things that you're infatuated with. Just hopefully you're not infatuated with killing.
Well, in that argument, should there be a psychology test in order to buy a gun then?
Oh,
Yes.
shoot. Have you guys seen Criminal Minds? Because that's why I'm like, no one needs guns.
But you can have somebody who's pretty mentally stable commit a crime and kill somebody.
Everyone can be.
So you think that Las Vegas shooter was mentally stable?
I'm not saying everyone,
Right.
but you can have somebody who cheats on their wife and the wife kills them with a gun. And you never know. She probably is mentally stable as it comes, but something just...
But to do
triggers.
something like that makes you not mentally
Right.
stable.
And that guy, the Las Vegas shooting, it's a terrible thing, and he had a gun. But if you guys really think a ban on guns was going to stop that man from getting a gun and doing the same thing, but what would happen if someone else in that crowd had their concealed carry, saw him shooting somebody, he pulls out his gun and kills him and saves a lot more lives? That didn't happen, but you ban guns, he doesn't have a gun, same thing happens. You know what I mean? So it doesn't always have to be law enforcement, because law enforcement not always at an area. So I remember one time I was growing up as a little kid, someone that was trying to rob the Kroger, and there's no cop in Kroger, not just chilling, they don't do that. So one guy that was down a few rows came in and he had his gun, so they had a little standoff right there, and that saved someone's life. No one shot anybody or anything, but if that guy didn't have a gun, that other guy still feels like he was shooting his mom, he was pointing the gun at his mom, and the other guy came over and saved his mom. So there's just things like that. So I don't think there should be a limit on guns or anything like that. You want to collect guns, do your thing. It's not going to stop anything that's going to happen. Like the Las Vegas thing, banning guns would not stop that.
I think we still should somehow monitor,
Mhm.
what people are purchasing and how much and why.
Right. Right.
If they walk into a store and they see from records that they've already bought however much ammunition or
Yeah,
whatever.
ammunition. That's the thing. That
Then-
if they want to monitor something, monitor the ammunition, because obviously they're shooting at something.
Just to play devil's advocate, so the Las Vegas shooter, for example, he had a semi-automatic rifle, but then he had an attachment that made it an automatic weapon. So do you think attachments like that and silencers and things like that, should those be also included in this, like,
They-
no regulation?
They already are, aren't they?
I feel like
I'm
that.
saying, like, do you think they
I
should?
feel like that's where the line needs to be drawn. Like, okay, you're collecting guns, that's one thing, but why do you need attachments and silencers and you know lasers and stuff like that? Now that's where it's
How
like,
do you
okay.
even know they're collecting guns? People going, I'm going hunting later.
Okay, but like, I
You don't
could
need a
collect
silencer to
pencils
go
and you
hunting.
would never
Yeah.
know.
You know what I'm saying? You don't need a silencer or a red dot sight or whatever you want on your gun to go hunting with. I mean, that's just not. You know, no one needs extended mags in a semi-automatic rifle to go hunting and you shoot a deer. It's gonna.
Because you
hit
got
one
people
off.
who collect guns and sell them at gun shows. Like, that could be a
Yeah.
thing too. So that's another reason why some people collect. But like with the whole attachment stuff, it's just like.
And that's illegal anyway. So I mean, it's just the same thing like drugs. Drugs are illegal. You're gonna get people are gonna sell that stuff. I mean, there's always gonna be a way to get it. I mean, it's not putting a ban on it's not really gonna help the situation.
I just wanted to add, sorry. We were talking in my other education class sort of about this issue, and my professor brought up, he thinks that teachers should be armed with guns because of all these school shootings happening lately. And we were talking that there should be like a certain number of teachers armed in every school, and the students shouldn't know about that, but just so there was an issue that came up, that they would have protection for their students and
I mean,
save.
I think
I
that's a
agree
good
with
idea.
that. Like, I'm not against guns because, like, I have guns in my house for protection, but I mean, like I said, I don't need 50 of them.
How do you prevent
But-
students from knowing about that? You know,
Ooh.
Well, the thing is, you can't. I don't think.
Yeah.
Because I mean, the parents are gonna have to know that there's a gun in that school.
Yeah.
That's just part of what it's gonna have to be. And I think it should just be like the principal. So there's an assistant principal and a principal. I think that should be the people who have access to a gun. And like, I know my dad's an administrator, and he's like, they've been talking about maybe putting a lockbox in the office that has like only the principal has the code for the gun. So if something were to happen, he's in the office, he can get into that box and have a gun.
That's kind of smart.
Would he be required to have some type of training?
You would have it would just another requirement, like concealed carry, all that type of thing. Know how to use it.
See, I like the idea though of having a certain amount of people in the building that are able to carry a gun, but like, how does that affect the students' perception and like perspective on it? Like, does it make them act different? Does it? I don't know what it would do for the students.
I
Like,
feel like if that's the case, you just need more officers in the city.
would students bring gun to schools? Like,
Right.
Well, I know when we had an officer come into our school, my junior year or whatever, and all the students started thinking that like we were ghetto or whatever. I mean, because we had a police officer in the school with, you know, he would handcuff people, and I think that a lot of times is a distraction. I think, you know, when you see, I mean, people already like straighten up when they see their principal in the hallway. They don't need to have a police officer in there with a gun on his hip and a taser and all that stuff. Like, so I mean, I don't know, just not letting it be carried. So if you got 12 officers in your school, I feel like that's just more of like a target. I don't really know about that. I'm just trying to.
So we're gonna wrap it up. Does anyone else have anything to say? Okay, you guys can go back to your seats. Thanks for sharing your opinions.
Yeah, thanks for being respectful during the discussion too.
More time to do this.
You have the SD card?
What's that?
The SD card?
Oh, you're done? I thought you were gonna do a little summary.